Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. A couple of years ago, I posted this video and to this day, I get comments on it about people who agree or disagree with the points that I've made. And I thought I'd come on here and just make an opposite video. So there are a lot of reasons why I hate New York City, but I gotta tell you, I actually spent the last 6 months living outside of New York City and I'm back because I actually do love the city. The reason why I had made that video about why I hate New York is simply because there's a lot of content out there about how amazing New York is. I think people get disillusioned about what the city is really like, and so I wanted to put some realistic opinions out there, but I gotta tell you, this city is top notch for a reason, and I'm just gonna go into reasons why you should move here. There are a lot of people who have lived here and have said that I'm not a real New Yorker because I didn't go to school here. I'm not a real New Yorker because I don't have like a 212 number. That's all fake news. Honestly, being a real New Yorker is a vibe and you have it or you don't, and apparently I don't have it, but that's okay. I'm going on my 4th year here. I've lived in Brooklyn, I lived in Manhattan, I now live in Queens. I love it here, and I'm not going anywhere for a while, so these are the reasons why I love New York. Number 1, connection to other boroughs. When you live in New York City, people who visit here pretty much only go to Manhattan, maybe Brooklyn, but they don't know how big New York City truly is. I myself have actually never been to Staten Island, but I know that I could if I wanted to. I personally love the ferry, so I am willing to go to Staten Island. I've been to the Bronx, I live in Queens, and so I feel like the connection to other boroughs is really important as a part of being connected to the city. Manhattan is such a small perspective of what the whole city has to offer, and so I love that I can go from borough to borough pretty easily, take the ferry, take the subway, and you can get there. When I compare this to other cities, it is quite difficult to go to other areas. If you think about LA, you know how hard it is to get from one end to another? Like, it's like a long distance relationship. So I love that New York has the ability to get from one place to another. I know it can be kind of time consuming. The subway doesn't run great, so you have to transfer, you have to go in a bit of a roundabout way, but you can get from one place to another and it's really great. A lot of neighborhoods have their own distinct vibe that really comes together and shows the uniqueness that is New York. Number 2, having several different airports. I lived in Atlanta for a bit, that's where I went to school, and there's one airport. And it's huge, but if it gets busy, it gets so busy and I hate it. Especially like if you live on the opposite end of Atlanta, going to the airport is so far away and it's just not fun. I love that in New York we have 3 airports. We have JFK, Newark, LaGuardia. I now live in Queens, so it's much closer to get to the airport. When I lived in Manhattan, I preferred to go to Newark. When I lived in Brooklyn, I went to JFK, and now I kind of like to go to LaGuardia. Yes, they have their perks and their cons, but I think that having 3 airports makes such a huge difference when it comes to people who travel here, people who travel a lot like I do. You can get a nonstop flight to pretty much anywhere. Like, I am a huge Europe girl. I love traveling all over Europe. You'll see my travel vlogs on my channel, and you can get a nonstop flight pretty much anywhere to Europe. I also am from Korea, so I like to go to Seoul often, and there are nonstop flights here. Most places in the US, you can get a nonstop flight unless it's a pretty small city, and so I love that. I try to avoid one-stop flights as much as possible because I'm spoiled with New York airports. I like my nonstop. Number 3, having 4 seasons distinctly. This is something that I never really cared about, but now that it's wintertime, I'm actually kind of enjoying the winter season. It is so cold. It's brick. It's icy. It snowed the other day and it didn't snow enough where it was like nice. It snowed a little bit and then it just like froze over the sidewalk. But that's like not an experience that you get everywhere. And I really appreciate that I can wear the full extent of my closet. Like right now I'm wearing several layers to go outside. And in the summer I'm wearing maybe half a layer to go outside because it's so hot. I love having all 4 seasons. Christmas just passed and I don't know how to explain it, but when you spend Christmas in like a tropical area, it just doesn't feel like the same. It gets that like little Christmas trees everywhere in Manhattan where people have like the small trees, and then having the lights and restaurants. I think it's such a vibe in New York City to have all 4 seasons. The holidays are really big here, so I think it's such a perk. The thing that I like about New York City is that Community is very involved here, and you can get as involved as you want, but it's not shoved down your throat. And some people are like, that's not a pro, but honestly, it is. If you've ever lived in a suburban neighborhood where everybody is super nosy, people get all up in your business, like, you know what I'm talking about when I say that, like, you don't want it shoved up you. Having community is so important, and that's something that I've really valued in my culture. But when I came to New York, I was a little scared because there's so many people here. The city's so big, like how am I supposed to find my community? But it's not that difficult, and you find places where you fit in, but at the same time, they're not like coming to your door trying to get in. If you've never lived in a neighborhood that I'm talking about, like, it's hard for me to explain it, but there are some neighborhoods, and I want to say like suburban neighborhoods, where you have to be part of a specific community. Like, there's no way out of it, whether it's like people living on your block or people who all go to your church or whatever it is, like, they will force that community upon you. And I've never felt that way in New York. In fact, people keep their distance. Like, I don't know my neighbors. Most people don't know their neighbors from what I know. And it's not like forced for you to do it, but people are not unfriendly if you do try to make a community out of it. The neighbors that I have talked to, they have always been really friendly. People are willing to speak with you and help you out. So I really like that aspect of New York. I do think it's a little bit different from other cities that I've experienced where they just force you into community, or there's no community at all. You have to fend for yourself. I love that city life is so expensive, and I think that's crazy how expensive it's gotten. But I think that the thing about New York is that there is such a range of what you can do in terms of events and food for the price. Back when I was really in my shopping addiction a couple of years ago and I was kind of down bad, I would go to Chinatown and get dumplings for like $5, and that would save me for the entire day. I know it's not healthy, but I'm telling you, like, there are places you can go to get affordable foods, affordable events. There's so many free things to do, and I love that about the city. I think that it's crazy to think that there's only expensive things to do. Of course, all of the touristy things are super expensive. Like, Broadway shows are expensive. Going to the Edge, Empire State Building, those are expensive. But there's also like free things that are really great and touristy, like walking the Brooklyn Bridge and going to Central Park. And I gotta tell you, like, it's really refreshing to think that on any given day, I can do so many things for free. And there are so many things that I can eat that are super affordable. And it's just a wide range depending on what you're looking for. There are days where I wanna be bougie. Like, next week is my birthday and I wanna ball out on food, so I can go to a really high-end place. So whatever you want, there is a way to find it, and I love that about New York City. I found it a little bit difficult when I was living in Atlanta because I had to dig to find places that were affordable. I'm not gonna lie, there are significantly fewer restaurants and significantly fewer free events in smaller cities, and I feel like if you're looking for that huge range of stuff, New York City's got you. Speaking of Chinatown, I love that there's like a little village of a little culture everywhere in this city. Every little ethnic group is out here. Every language is spoken, and you can find a place to get real authentic food. I love that. When I go to Flushing and I get Korean food or Chinese food, it just hits different. Little Italy, Ukrainian village, amazing, amazing. And I feel like I've had the experience of hearing so many different languages, whether it's on the subway or just from like my taxi drivers, asking them where they're from. I've heard every accent out there. It just feels like New York is so mixed, and I love that. And because it's so mixed, I've had so many different like fusion foods. There's this amazing bagel place that serves bulgogi bagels. Obsessed. Like, how have I never realized I needed that? So I love that there's a mix of all these cultures, and I don't think there's anywhere else in the US that has this mosh posh of different ethnicities. But yeah, every language is spoken here. You can meet any type of ethnic people, and I love that. Especially as like a Korean girl myself, I was worried that as an adult, being away from my Korean parents, I would be kind of estranged from my Korean culture. But seeing how people really dive into their culture here has inspired me, and I have been honestly more interested in my culture than ever before. It truly is the most diverse city, and it's incredible that I just feel like I'm at the heart of it. I never feel like out of place per se. Like, if I go to the Ukrainian village, It's not like, oh, that Asian girl is here. It's like, oh, like let's show her the real food and recommend dishes to her. And it just feels authentic in its own American way. And I love that. I love that. Another thing that I sincerely love about New York, which I think is actually unique to New York, anyone who says differently, please prove me wrong, bodega culture. I know that some of my friends are like, it's just a deli, it's just a convenience store. No, it's not. A bodega is a bodega for a reason. You're like getting to know your deli guy. He knows what you're ordering. You stumble in at 2 a.m. after a night out and he's like, chopped cheese? And you say yes. He knows that you like extra jalapenos. The fact that they're open, a lot of them 24/7. Also, them having cats. Like, I don't think I've been to other convenience stores in the US where they're openly having cats. And above all, bagels. When I was living not in New York, it was so sad because I wanted a bagel every day. When I was in Spain, I was like, where can I get a real bagel? I had a bagel and I was like, ma'am, this ain't it. I want my New York City bagel. I want it to have lox, cream cheese, capers. New York City bodega culture is different. I'm sorry. I know that that's annoying to hear for non-New Yorkers, but I really think it's different. Prove me wrong. This one might be a pro or a con depending on who you are. Personally, I think it's a pro. You don't have to drive. I know that there are some areas of New York, like maybe deeper into Queens and Brooklyn, where having a car would be nice. But as a person who's a terrible driver, I'm so excited to live across the street from the subway. I think it's great. I actually prefer not to drive, and having a car has been a crutch in my life that is so dangerous. I've gotten into not big accidents, but I've had small incidences with cars that I just don't feel safe in. So having public transport is really great. I don't have to pay for parking, car insurance, all that jazz. I do make up for it by taking some Ubers here and there, but mostly public transit, not bad. I enjoy it. Not having to drive has been truly awesome. And lastly, kind of just my thoughts on New York being awesome. I love that it is a lot. And I don't think that however many years you've lived here, you feel like you've experienced everything. When I was living in Atlanta for 4 years, I kind of was done with it. I feel like, oh, I did all the major things. I ate at all the big places. What more is there left to do? But I've never felt that way in New York. This is my 4th year going, and I still feel like I haven't even done 1% of New York. There are so many neighborhoods I've yet to visit, restaurants that I want to try, shows that I haven't seen, exhibits that are brand new and circling, and I feel like everything is new here all the time. There are new places popping up literally every day, and things that I've never even heard of that I'm discovering on TikTok, and it just feels like places never changing. And for some, I feel like that's exhausting, but as a person in my 20s who's craved that kind of bustling lifestyle, it has been so refreshing to feel like I will never hit the end, and that's exciting for me. I can keep going, and there will still be more fun stuff ahead. There will still be more amazing restaurants to try. That is so just liberating for me, that it can continue on being an amazing city with or without me, and I want to be a part of it. So it's been so lovely living here. I don't know if I would live here forever. I just don't know if New York City is my forever home. For now, it's been such a joy to live here. I had been spending the last 6 months, I was traveling a lot. I was in Spain for a bit. You can check out my Spain vlogs. But there's really, truly no city like New York. And whether you love it or you hate it, I think you can agree that it is absolutely unique and just stunning. Anyways, thank you all for watching. This video is mostly just for people who have seen my I Hate New York video. The truth is, with any city, you're gonna love it, you're gonna hate it, there are things you like and you don't like, but the fact is you gotta live somewhere, and I choose to live in New York. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! Oh, if you're wondering what this is, it's a Buc-ee's Band-Aid. For my southern girlies, you know who Buc-ee is. If you don't know who Buc-ee is, an amazing beaver who runs a Walmart gas station, and they just have a ton of merch. It's like if an amusement park had beef jerky and you filled up your tank. I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, love you all. Bye.